welcome to Polish with Ray. I'm Rachel and today I'm going to be sharing with you a new collection from Holo Taco. This is their Holo Renaissance collection. This is a 6-piece collection of crushed holographic shades in a beautiful, like saturated, rich, vibrant fall lineup. These are currently available on the Holo Taco site, so down in the description box you'll find links for where to shop these as well as Holo Taco's social media. So I'm going to live swatch these for you today as well as show you full hand swatches of each shade in a variety of lighting. Then we'll finish up with final thoughts and favorites at the end. All right, we have 6 beautiful shades to look at today, so let's go ahead and get into the swatches. We're going to take a look at these in rainbow order. We're starting with the red, which is called Cardinal Sins. This one is described as being a rebellious, warm red, crushed holo. This one had a beautiful formula, very saturated and opaque right away on that first coat. You get a ton of those holo flakies out right away, and they distribute themselves perfectly evenly across your nail. This one did build up to full opacity and match the color, the tone of red that I saw in the bottle on the second coat. So I would say this is a true 2-coater for everyone. So here's what it looks like in 2 coats with a glossy top coat and some sunlight. This was such an interesting shade of red. I kept going back and forth on how I felt about it on myself because I don't typically like warm reds, but this one has like a little bit of a pink lean to it as well. It's like almost kind of like a warm brownie berry. I found that it was a really unique shade to my collection. Next up we have Far From the Tree. This one's described as being a rooted forest green crushed holo. This one also had a fantastic formula, pretty jelly base, but very buildable. It built up to opacity for me in 2 coats. Again, I think most people would get full opacity with this in 2, maybe very long nails would find themselves wanting a 3rd, but I think it's a pretty solid 2-coater. The sun was gone, so I did want to show you what it looks like in bright lighting. This is 2 coats with a glossy top coat in my studio lighting, so you can see some of that holo sparkle. And then I took it outside in the overcast lighting, and this is what it looks like there. And then here is what it looks like indoors in indirect lighting. Yeah, this is also a really pretty shade of like a warm, almost olivey green. Up next we have Venetian Views, and this one's described as being a picturesque teal crushed holo. So same great formula with this one. Very even and jelly and squishy on that first coat, but highly saturated and pigmented. This one did build up to full opacity for me in 2 coats. Again, I can't see anyone needing more than 2 coats for this shade, and I love the depth of color in this rich teal. I had a hard time picking favorites with this collection, so I kind of didn't, but if I had to, I think it would be this one and the next shade we're gonna look at. This is 2 coats of Venetian Views with a glossy top coat. I just really liked how the holographic pigment popped in this rich teal base. I felt like there was a lot of contrast there between the teal base and the silver holo, and it was gorgeous. I couldn't take my eyes off of it. And then here's what it looks like in some indirect indoor lighting. These are all very saturated and pigmented, so I definitely recommend pairing them with a base coat to prevent staining. And then my other favorite from the collection is called Smalt of the Earth. This one has a deep blue base with that same crushed holographic pigment. So this one just builds up to the most beautiful cool toned blue. It's one of those shades of blue that almost teeters the line between purple and blue. Like sometimes it was given a little bit of a blurple vibe. And I also felt like surprisingly this one was on the sheer side. I could see some people wanting a 3rd coat for this one. However, I showed it here in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. This tone of blue is so poppin'. Oh my gosh, it is spectacular. And again, we just get some incredible contrast between the dark blue base and that silvery holographic pigment. And then here is what it looks like in some indirect lighting, indoors near window. Up next, we have Vine to Table, and this one is described as being a rich Merlot crushed hollow. This one also had a great formula. They were really consistent to work with, which I loved. Super saturated, very opaque, but that same squishy jelly base, and then built up to a nice deep, rich magenta color on the second coat and became fully opaque. I don't think anyone's going to need more than 2 coats for this shade. It's beautiful. It reminds me a lot of magenta jelly, which is one of my favorite Holo Taco shades. So here is what it looks like built up in 2 coats and some studio lighting. Again, the sun was gone, so I wanted to show you how it sparkled in some brighter lighting. So here you go. And then here is what it looks like in some overcast lighting outdoors. And this one felt extra rich for some reason. In that indirect lighting, this color really popped, I think, in the lower lighting. And the final shade I have to share with you from this collection is Nightlife, and this one is a silver gray crushed hollow. Again, this one had a great formula. It was really smooth and even, very jelly base with lots of hollow packed in there. It was fully opaque for me in just a couple coats, and I think pretty much everyone would get this fully opaque in 2 coats. Maybe longer nail inks might want a third, but I think 2 coats should cover most nail inks. Here's what it looks like in 2 coats with a glossy top coat and some sunlight. This one's totally given TV static. That's all I could see when I looked at this polish. Yeah, it's very silvery, very gray. And then here is what it looks like in some indirect lighting inside near a window. So that was Holo Taco's Holo Renaissance collection. Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments. As for my thoughts, this is a beautifully executed collection. I love the formula of each shade. I love how each formula was consistent across the board. And I really like how the polishes fit together. I think they skittle together beautifully. They lend themselves well to like nail art and gradients. And the color story here is definitely giving like fall season, and it is rich and saturated and delicious. And I'm here for that. If I had one comment to make about the color story, I could have done without Nightlife, the gray. I'm just not a big gray polish wearer personally, and when I think gray polish, and maybe it's just me, I am a seasonal nail polish wearer, but if I'm gonna reach for a gray most of the time, it is in the winter season, and I kind of wish instead of Nightlife, we would have gotten like an orange. Like a beautiful pumpkin orange crushed hollow. I also thought, man, a brown would have really been nice with the other colors in this lineup, but I know with like the barista bundle they did a few years ago, they kind of already did the brown, so I understand why this gray is here, but I could have really enjoyed an orange or a brown, but that is being really picky. This is a nice shade. It's just not personally one that I would reach for. As far as the collection goes, I did enjoy working with these. I enjoyed swatching them, but I like this formula. I like this finish. I've tried it before and enjoyed it, but I wish those holographic flakes were a little less silvery and a little bit more in-your-face holographic. I'm super spoiled with my beautiful indie collection, and I get to wear super holographic polishes all the time. That is what's the norm for me. So when I try a boutique polish or a mainstream polish that has like the more silvery holographic, it falls a little flat for me. I think if you are an avid Holo Taco lover, if you've tried this formula before and you enjoy it, you will absolutely love these. And I think most people who are used to shopping mainstream polishes, and this is kind of like one of their introductions into non-linear holographic or holographic at all, that those shoppers, those consumers will really, really enjoy this. And it is a pretty effect. Like, I can see myself reaching for these. They're just not as holographic as some of the shades that I have in my collection. But I'm curious to know your thoughts. Do you love this finish from Holo Taco? Or are you excited to get rich jewel tones in this finish? Hopefully you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!